Over the last week, so many stories have come out about the greatness of Rav Chaim Kanievsky, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, our Gadol Hador. And I wanted to share with you just one of them that I found to be so inspiring. There was an individual, an older man, who came from the United States to get a bracha from Rav Chaim for health, for himself and for his family. And when he came around in the line, he handed him his kvittel, and Rav Chaim looked at it and he saw his name on it, which said Shmuel ben Malka, requesting for health for himself and for his family. And the individual was assuming he's going to get the usual remark, buha, which was short for bracha v'hatzlacha, as everybody else did who would go past Reb Chaim. But Reb Chaim began a conversation with him, asking him how he's doing, where his children live, where he lives, where his grandchildren live, etc. And the fellow was noticeably surprised, and Reb Chaim said to him at a certain point, "You don't think I remember you?" He said, "Huh?" And Reb Chaim told him that 60 plus years ago, he said, "I remember that you came with your father to my uncle, the Chazon Ish. And your father was rather concerned about you. He was concerned about your future as far as your ruchnius. He was concerned that maybe you weren't headed on the right path. And he had asked the Chazon Ish to daven for you. And the Chazon Ish asked the Gabbai at the time to go find out your full name. And he said, I was the Gabbai. And I went to find out your name." And he said, "And I have been davening for you for the last 60 years, every single day, that you remain on the Torah path, that you remain living a life of ruchnius." And I'm so happy to see that that's what's going on right now. Rav Chaim was in tune to every single person. Rav Chaim cared about every single individual in Klal Yisrael. The Torah tells us that when Moshe Rabbeinu came out of the palace and he saw a Jew getting hit by a Mitzri, it says, Vayar b'sivlosam, and he saw their pain. And Rashi comments, what does that mean? It means that he was nosein eina v'libo lios meitzar aleim, that he focused his eyes and his heart to feel their pain. And by Rosh Hashiva of Henoch Leibowitz pointed out that, it was pretty obvious to notice the pain, the atrocities of what was going on in Egypt. But yet, in order for Moshe Rabbeinu to really feel for the individual at the highest levels, he needed to be nosein eina v'libo. He needed to focus in on that person and to really see what is going on in his life and really feel for him. That's what drove him to understand each person and to feel for them on the highest levels. And that's who Rav Chaim Kanievsky was. A person who was involved in so much, who had all of Klal Yisrael on his shoulders, yet was still zeroed in on every single person, cared for every individual, just like this fellow, davening for him for over 60 years, thinking about every person's needs. So many stories are coming out about the shailas that would come to him and how he would apply his knowledge of Kol HaTorah Kula to each specific individual, thinking about their case, understanding them and their needs. Let's take a lesson from Rav Chaim Kanievsky and try to zero in on everybody around us. Try to think about the individual people in our life amongst all the other lessons that we could learn from the Gadol Hador Rav Chaim. Let's stop, let's zero in and focus on the people that are around us. Have a wonderful Shabbos.